Welcome to Brian's Action Figure Reviews, and today we are doing a brand new Retro Wrestle Talk wrestling review, and this week we are going to be talking about Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, brother versus brother, at Wrestlemania 10. So without further ado, I'm going to get you over to Rich Tubbs, and let's get ready to rumble! Here we go. Welcome back to another episode of Retro Wrestle Talk. I believe we're on episode 8, so that's 8 weeks of watching matches with you two guys. Welcome everyone, here is Rich and Twisted Tubbs as always. How we getting on, boys?
Good man, kid.
We all set for this one?
Yeah. Yes.
Right, before we get into that, let's do what we always do and go into some of last week's comments. Now, there's a few extra because we did 2 episodes last week, but so from the Eddie Guerrero episode, we just had a nice message from CN Tsukaima, who said, "Rest in peace, Eddie," which I believe we can all agree with. Boogie Bop, he posted this before the video actually went up because I had it premiering, so the kind of video was shown all day. And he said the thumbnail shows anguish in everyone's face except Tubbs. Why, Tubbs? Why?
Fucking poser.
Amazing.
Boogie Bop, got no message for you other than I got Zoolander poses going like this shit, you know?
Okay, so we had quite a good bit of good response to the Undertaker video during the week.
Okay.
So we'll start off with Bearded Geek Reviews. He said this entire thing was awesome. To see Taker so vulnerable and second-guessing himself was immense. I gave up on WWE a few years ago, but I always tuned in for The Undertaker and kept getting disappointed in my favourite wrestler. I can totally relate to that. Love this stream. If you're thinking of doing the dark side of wrestling, I'd happily join in. So this is something we'll chat about later. Anyway, David Woodland also said would love to get your thoughts on the dark side of the ring by Vice as well. So that's 2 people. And Tubbs, of course, said deadly request, Dave. And Paddy Bass of Let's Survive, Paddy Plays, he said, absolutely love this episode. Haven't watched the doc yet, but hearing all you said bumped it right up on my must-watch list. Was a huge Taker fan when I was a kid, so can't imagine how incredible and moving this documentary is. An incredible legacy, as Tubbs said, and those 2 words, absolute legend. Also, Tubbs, we all know you're getting the final match in one of my upcoming movies once I come out of retirement. What's on with these people coming out of retirement? Keep up the awesome work, gentlemen, and Rich never let up on Tubbs. We had some, he is such a poser, like. And we had some comments on a Facebook group called Wrestle Talk as well, where I regularly post our episodes. Hold on. So Ruth Hollins said about the Taker episode, it says, first off, before I watch this episode, I need to go walk my dog before I can relax. I just have to say I want Rich's hair. Holy hell, his hair grows fast. And then after she watched it, she came on and said, Taker has one son, Gunnar Vincent Calloway, who is a carrot top like his father from his first marriage, 2 daughters, Chelsea and Gracie, from his second marriage, and the youngest daughter, Kaya, who was seen in the documentary with Michelle McCool. I'm so not happy to streak into either, most especially to that asshat Lesnar. Love that word. But to find out Taker had actually been injured during the match, I stepped back from being upset about him losing the streak so much. Yeah. You guys hating on Bill Goldberg had me laughing so hard. Fuck Bill Goldberg.
You know what? Goldberg is shit, and that's why I always loved WWE when it did to Gilbert.
Yes. And she said, dropping Taker on his friggin' head, though, that was massively brutal. Fucking brutal.
They're all fucking, it's catching on.
And she said, the final...
You developed your own tagline, man.
Yeah. The final match that Taker had at WrestleMania this year was the best, even though he makes it sound like the last match. He has said it before it came back. Anyway, the Taker versus Styles match left me wanting more, even though I knew it was an amazing way to end his career. Taker looked strong and was booked strong and looked good in this match because it was a combination of Undertaker, Biker Taker, and himself, the Holy Trinity. it really is unfortunate the match had no audience at all. And she said she also felt sorry for Drew McIntyre not having anyone to celebrate his title win as well. And she said Undertaker's most definitely a legend, and I look forward to his induction into the Hall of Fame. So first of all, I want to thank Ruth for a massively in-depth comment, and yeah, your input is massively
thank you, Ruth.
Liked, enjoyed, whatever the word is. So let's get on to this week's
match. Because he seems to be a person who constantly kind of like does leave comments and stuff. Ruth, please get in contact. Is there a match that you want us to do? Because I think just out of pure, just to say thank you, I want to do a match that you want us to review, just so it's a bit more special towards you, since you're tuning in every week and watching our videos. So please just kind of drop in the comments to somewhere a match that you'd like us to do, and we'll get that on the list.
100%. Totally agree, Rich there. So tell us, Ruth, what you like, and we will most definitely stick it on the list and do that match for you. Tubbs, you can tell us the reason why this match we are doing this week, and tell us who.
Oh yes, this match, the Owen versus Bret WrestleMania 10 match, was requested by Boogie Bop, real name Philip O'Connor. It's one of his favourite matches from growing up as a kid, when we literally used to have the Bret Hart Shawn Michaels rivalry very in depth as we were kids, which is kind of why I think Phil thinks I hate Bret Hart so much, and I don't really though, but
You're just
it's
a
fun.
massive HBK mark.
I am. I'm just a massive. Well, to be fair, at least Bret's a mark for himself, so that's fine.
Oh wow!
But
the hate is real.
Philip is also one of my first ever wrestling opponents. Wrestled under the name Soul Slayer, and we used to do matches before, like back in the day and stuff. But there's one that it's actually online, but it always kind of gets brought up. Is the what can only be called? It could be the one that's right there now. It's a junkyard match, basically. Burnt out cars, fields, the whole shebang. But there was some crazy spots in this. There was swantons through a table. There was and then after I gave him that, he literally power slams me onto the broken table and it goes in through my leg. It's horrible. But then we finished. There's a spot in the match where, to this day, it still fucking hurts. He Phil's a big dude. Phil's over 6 foot, and I clearly am not. So but he power bombs me on the bonnet of a burnt out car. I know, but he power bombs me on the bonnet of a burnt out car with thumbtacks on it. The thumbtacks were my idea. And to say that I still claim that was my first concussion. This spot right here.
Reap what you sow.
Exactly. But just want to give a big shout out to Phil for the suggestion, because it's a stellar match, and we're going to enjoy this one. Thanks, I know Rich is
predisposed opinion, I think. But
yes.
Thanks very much, Phil. Keep watching the show. We're delighted to see you commenting on most of the videos now, and keep ripping on Tubbs, because everybody loves that. So boys, come on, let's get down to the match. WrestleMania 10, the opener of WrestleMania 10, which I had forgotten. Now, obviously, this was because Bret was going to be doing double duty that night. He was going to be fighting Yokozuna, R.I.P., in the main event. But first, he had some brotherly issues to sort out. So who wants to take the lead on this one?
I think Richard should go first.
I think so too.
Cheers, boys. This was, to me, probably one of the first biggest rivals, there was. You remember from a young age. Obviously, there's plenty of rivals, but this is one of the kind of the first ones that kind of stands out because it's personal, it's family, it's blood. This is Bret Hart is kind of at his peak in the WWE. He's accomplished everything, and you've got the underdog of your younger brother kind of in the shadows, wanting to kind of take that mark now and be I am just as good, if not better, kind of thing. I mean, it's that whole siblings. If you've got siblings, you're going to have that kind of rivals. I could only imagine, Tubbs, that your 3 daughters are constantly bickering at each other, causing shit, kind of thing. So it's that. It just really stood out, this rivalry, because what people forget is this match. This didn't end the rival. The rival continued for another year. But this was like the kind of the start of like Owen Hart. This was Owen Hart kind of rebranding himself, like the beginning of rebranding himself from like the Rocket to like eventually he's going to declare himself as the King of Hearts. Yeah, like you know what I mean. The Rocket is good kind of thing gimmick, but it's not as good as like the King of Hearts, because that's a kind of staple of like I am better than you, Bret, kind of thing. So the whole build up in this match, and I'm going to steal Tubbs' moment here.
Story.
You're going to be the storyteller.
The whole build up to this match. So obviously, right back to Survivor Series when the Hart family two of them have came out of retirement of wrestling to join Bret and Owen against Shawn Michaels and the Knights. Of all fucking names, the Knights. Obviously, quite interesting because you kind of see it's quite good to see that the brothers were given an opportunity to kind of shine in one of the biggest wrestling promotions. Obviously, Bret got injured, so he tags Owen in, and then kind of for some reason when you watch that match, he tags Owen in, but goes to the other turnbuckle to leave. So obviously, it isn't until when Owen Hart, I think Owen gets whipped against the ropes as Bret starts to go back to his turnbuckle. He knocks Owen Hart against the ropes. Bret falls onto the floor. Obviously, Owen's the only Hart member to get eliminated. So obviously, that's where the bitterness kind of starts from. Obviously, they finally win and they're celebrating without Owen. So obviously, there is that kind of start. Obviously, it kind of gets more personal, and like Owen starts to call out people. Can we also just say that I think, was that not the first time where Owen Hart actually puts in the sharpshooter as well? The first time was in that Survivor Series. It wasn't actually an initial move for him. I'm pretty sure it was Survivor Series. Then obviously the big family feud, Owen's kind of wanting to step up, but obviously for the story and they kind of be like for the best of families, they make up. So then they would start becoming tag team partners again, which is great because you've got two. There's nothing better when you have two amazing wrestlers in a tag team. You know what I mean? It just works kind of thing. It makes it even better to watch. So obviously they're at Royal Rumble 1994 against the what did I just call them again?
The Quebecers.
The Quebecers.
Jack and Jean Rougeau or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously both these guys are on a double bill that night because both of them are in the Royal Rumble as well. So you see Bret getting a beating. Obviously, when the Quebecers manager interferes and pulls a rope down, Bret lands hard on his knee, and the remainder of the match is the guy's just working on that knee. Bret finds an opportunity once again where he could have and should have tagged Owen, but stupidly tries to put him into a sharpshooter. Fails to do so, referee calls off the match, basically saying that Bret can't continue. And this is actually the proper point where this rival kicks off, because you see Owen sweep Bret's leg and then storms off screaming and shouting, basically saying you're selfish, like you're washed up kind of thing. All you need to do was tag. I was concerned about your leg and stuff. Then you've got them both going in the Royal Rumble. Then Bret gets the opportunity to obviously does the conjoined Royal Rumble win, and then goes to Mania. During obviously the promos, like it's quite good when you watch the Owen promos. Every time he says like, Bret, you've done this, you've done that, it's in a past tense, and he's kind of saying that like, you're done now. I'm aware what you've done. You're done. I'm the Hart to go forward. So you finally get that match between the two of them, and it is kind of one of those things. It's needed because it's like, who's the better brother? You've got Bret, who has well established himself around the world, but you've got Owen Hart, kind of up and rising, and then you've got like this. It leads into one of the first. Is it out of the two big matches that these guys had?
They had a cage match as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, SummerSlam 90. Was it 94 or 95? 95?
It's 94, wasn't it?
No, I think it might be 95 because there was a build up with Nell Hart, and Nell Hart kind of joins up kind of thing because they do a whole run about the whole jealousy. Yeah, it must be 95 because it was after a King of Ring as well, I'm pretty sure.
Anyway.
So yeah, like this match was needed, and it was just a great story. Like, just you don't get these kind of stories no more, but they build that tension between wrestlers, and it was getting personal, kind of thing, like, oh, you're the family favorite kind of thing, I'm the underdog kind of thing, people forget about me. No, the whole build up in the story was just phenomenal. And I think it's even better because when you know that they are legit actual brothers, it adds to that story as well, being like,
100%, yeah.
You think to yourself, like, ooh, is there tension outside the ring as well? Obviously, they've been professional, but you kind of wonder that as well, because they tie that into the story. Could there be tension? So it just kind of builds up even more. So now, like, I really just can't wait to get stuck in and talk about this match. But the whole build up in this match was phenomenal, and I highly recommend, if you're watching this and you haven't seen it, go start back, get yourself back to Survivor Series, work your way up to the Royal Rumble, and then start watching the promos just to kind of really see the frustration in Owen, because it really works to this match.
So let's get to the actual entrances. Owen comes out first, and as you see, he's doing the whole shouting at the crowd and everything, and he mimics what Bret Hart does, which I loved, was coming out with the glasses, but when he stands up on the ropes, he actually rips them up and he's like, fucks him away. And
that's why he's doing it. He started doing that to get under Bret, to piss off Bret, like, because he never did that. So he started doing these things like dressing like Bret, wearing the sunglasses, using a sharpshooter now, because he was calling out Bret to be like, I'm replacing you kind of thing. So no, it was fucking great seeing him do that.
I loved it. The one thing I loved about even the start of the match was proper old-fashioned heel work from Owen, like the cowardly hiding under the top rope and all that, and the slap. Fuck me, the slap he hits Bret Hart. Go on, Tubbs.
No. I was just saying, is the one, I agree with you on that, is the one thing I did love about this match was that it felt like it wasn't one of these, matches that had like shooting star presses or big high, fucking falling off cage spots or anything like that. It was a pure old school heel versus face technical wrestling match from start to finish. It was just it was a clinic. That is the best word to put on it. It was to precision. Like there's moves in this match where like it's simple things, that you see in wrestling every day, but the way they're delivered in this match, it's like at one point Bret throws Owen at the ropes and like sucker punches him in the stomach, and within seconds turns and Russian leg sweeps him. It's but it's the way he does it. It's so fast. It's so fucking. It's so precise. It's so crisp, man. But the thing I loved was what Rich was saying about this match and the build and everything else, and the way they used this match to do callbacks to the build. There were certain points in the match where going, oh, okay, because you remember the Royal Rumble. Oh, you remember Survivor Series. This is why this is happening now. And there's certain things that Owen was doing that kind of like mirrored what he did in the old school kind of matches before it. But the thing I did actually wanted to point out what Rich was saying a while ago as well is, did you both realise that Bret Hart pulled double duty at the Royal Rumble and at Mania?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The tag match and Owen and Bret were both in the Royal Rumble as well.
Yeah. And then at Mania, then he does the same thing with a double duty match. Like,
what do you guys think of the whole double duty thing? Because, like, obviously, not spoiling anything, we know who won the match. Owen won the match. Do you think that damaged Bret going forward into the main event, having lost the opener? So. No,
I don't think so. I think, and this is what Rich was saying, when you look back at the build at Survivor Series and how when Bret seemed to appear like he had been injured, and then gets knocked off to the thing or into the barrier, and Owen gets knocked out, and you kind of see they tease the cracks, Oh, there's some tension there, but and then they have that promo, which Rich, I don't know if you noticed it in the promo when Bret's doing, look, there was some tension in the family, but we got down and sat down and talked about it. We feel like we should be a team instead of fighting against each other. And the way like brothers do this thing where it's like, oh, Owen kind of sends his heading across Bret's jaw in a little more a little more playful than usual. But then you get to the Rumble, and it is that thing where they play on Bret's leg again, where he gets injured and Owen takes it out, and in the Rumble, then it gives you that thing of like, oh, Bret has no chance of winning this Rumble now, because he's fucked. But then he wins it. So I think that's what they kind of needed to do in the Mania match, was because there's a point in the match where it mirrors back to, like I said, the build with Bret and the injury. We'll get into that later, but then when I was watching, I was kind of going, okay, so this is to put doubt now in the people. So Owen's kind of taking his chance away from him now, from later on in that night, because he knows he's going to have to fight Yokozuna later in the night, and now he's in a predicament again. So I think that entire thing was playing into the bill. I think it needed to happen to push the story forward with Owen afterwards as well. So I think that that was all placed nicely, perfectly placed the entire way through that bill. By the way, Rich is dead right. It's not very often you see a 3-4 month wrestling storyline build that's just fantastically told.
Yeah, it's like back then WWE actually used to give credit to their watchers, whereas now everything is like rushed out the door, and you're not going to see a 4-month long build nowadays. But obviously,
which is a shame.
Yeah, it clearly is. Yeah, in AEW, but again, that's a different conversation. But
and I don't think it has to happen for every match either, Brian.
No,
I think
of course not.
It just needs this. But some matches need that marquee billing. They need that kind of deeper story to be told. Which is I think is what this match. Like this is a match that wrestling students nowadays should be shown.
I was thinking the exact same thing myself when I was watching it. I was like, if you're thinking back then, the likes of Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, all of them would have been watching this and just drinking it in, to use Jericho's phrase. Like if you were to show someone who'd never seen wrestling before a match, to show them how eloquent it can be, how perfectly done it can be, this will be one of the high candidates, I think. And whatever about the story, but the match itself, it's just two technicians in there. When you're watching it, that they've done this a million times in Stu Hart's dungeon before,
But I think as well from watching it, I agree with what you're saying, Brian. It's a technically sound match from start to finish. But I think what really pushed the level up on this match was the integration of the story being told within it. It wasn't just like they did a build and they did a match. They pulled everything that was in that build, and then they told it within the confines of the ring as well, and really pushed it forward. It's like as you said, it's little things of like Owen slaps Bret, and then when Bret goes to walk towards him, he cowers.
Yeah.
He was a thoroughbred heel. It was like Bret Hart was so much the face in this match. Like the crowd were erupted for everything he did in this match, and every time Owen did something, the crowd not so much, But it wasn't to say Owen's a bad wrestler. It was just this match told a story, and you knew, all right, he's the heel, and he's the face. We cheer for Bret. We move on.
Did either of you notice near the start of the match? I think it was just before they kind of locked up, when they were in the ring, and there was some guy in the crowd saying, "Come on, Owen!" or something like that, and Bret literally goes, it fucking gives him the death stare. Like, I thought it was fucking brilliant.
See, the funny thing is, he was probably the only dude, like, he was probably one of the few, like, 1% who was going into this match support backing Owen. Now, there'll be so much folk out there right now going, "Oh, no, I was backing Owen during this match. Were you fuck? Because Owen Hart didn't win the crowd over for quite a while, a long time after this. Everyone was going, put your fucking hand down, Tubbs, shut the fuck up, you're lying. You're going to... Nah.
Owen Hart was coming from high...
I am, dude.
Owen Hart was coming from high energy, a team with Coco Beware, which is basically just Job Squad.
You were still rooting for Bret.
I'll say it to you right now. I get Boogie Bob.
Yeah, we know this.
We'll put it in the comments next week. I called it back at WrestleMania 10. Is all I'm saying. I had an idea in my brain back then.
as crisp of a match it is, can either of you nail down a worst spot of the match?
Not a worst spot, but what I would have liked in the match a little bit more, but it would have had to involve Owen Hart to adapt his character a little bit more in his fighting skill, as I do feel that he should have been a bit more aggressive.
Mm.
Like, I feel like he should have been like going in for harder like punches, like no more as constant as he could. Like, it's kind of like, this is my fucking moment, I'll make fuck you up kind of thing. A lot more.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the only thing that I could fault in this whole match, and to the whole build up, was just I think, like, if you're so frustrated and angry towards someone and you're living in their shadow, and by the way, they kept saying that in the commentary that Owen was living in the shadow back in Survivor Series before anything fucking happened. So they were dropping fucking hints away back then. But getting back to my point, you're going to go in like just fucking like just hammer into that fucking person. So like, I think, to me, I get why you maybe didn't do that, because like, I'm going to beat you in your style to prove that this is why I'm better than you. You're old. You're in the past. I'm the new thing. But I just feel like, if you're fucking frustrated and angry, you're going in laying haymakers. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's the thing. That's the only thing. Like, there's not. I couldn't really think of anything wrong with this match. But that's the only thing I would have preferred to had changed in it.
For myself, yeah, it's hard to pick any real faults in any of the moves they've done. Like, even when Bret went up for the superplex, I was expecting. Sometimes they can look a bit ropey, but man, it was just perfect. There's actually the execution of the moves, the excellence of execution. I know, like, but there isn't a worse spot, because they're so consistent. They're all on the same level, so it's very hard to pick worst one. What about you, Tubbs?
I'd be the same as you, Brian. I found it very, very hard to find spots in this match where I was kind of going, I don't like that. Because even the spots that I was kind of going, that's not for me, I was going, okay, but that's story based and that needs to be there. So it's like, it was the one where I think when Owen had Bret up and he was about to kind of like do a backbreaker on him, but then Bret hit his leg and then Owen just dropped back. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But then when he went for the count, he kicked up and Bret went out of the ring. So I was going, oh, okay, he set it up to bring him outside so he can, work over the leg. I was going, all right, I get it. So even that, I was kind of going, all right, I wasn't a fan of that spot, but I understood, all right, it's going somewhere, so it's not like they just did it for no reason, or it went wrong. It was leading somewhere else. So yeah, it was very hard for me to pick one that I felt like, if I was to pick spots out of this match, I'd genuinely would be just picking them for the sake of picking them. Do you know?
Yeah.
Because I
same.
really, I
That's
love
why I
it
didn't
from
pick
start to
any.
finish.
So.
But
there actually
to go back to what you were saying, Rich, about the punches and stuff. Do you not think that was more to do with Owen Hart being cocky? Like, every time he'd do something to Bret, he'd mimic him, or he'd do something. Like, even when Bret was hobbling against the ropes, he was hobbling with him. But that's what I mean. Do you think that he was playing the heel so well that's the kind of heel he was this obnoxious younger brother? Because, like, do you have brothers?
No, sister.
Like, I have younger siblings, man, right? When I was growing up,
Jonathan, I hope you're watching this.
No, it is the mad thing. It wasn't Jonathan, it was Becky.
All right.
So it was like, I had younger. She was to like purposely try to annoy me on purpose, like, you know what I mean? It was and mimic stuff, you know what I mean? So that's the thing. Siblings do that. So that's when I saw that, I was kind of going, this is perfect, man. And then when you look at the dynamic of the match, you have even the build in the entire thing. You have like Owen is this sniveling, I'm better than you, and like I deserve this, and it's my turn. And he's just this like angry, like really obnoxious, angry brother, like, just like fucking hates that Bret's getting these things. And then you have Bret then, sometimes reminds me of like Cyclops or fucking Captain America, but he's like, oh, look at me, I'm goody two shoes and I won't fight my brother and I do nothing wrong. And that was the perfect build, I think, going into this match because Owen wanted Bret to suffer and he wanted to beat him, but Bret was like, I won't fight my brother. And even at the start, I think they did that, but Bret was holding back a bit. And Owen was getting him over, and Owen was like, yeah, Bret, look at me. And Bret was getting frustrated because he was trying to not go full on at the start. Watch the start of it again and tell me if I'm wrong, but it looked like he was holding back a small bit within the first 2 or 3 minutes of that match. And then he got the slap across the face, and that kind of like ignited him then, you know. But it was things like that, you know.
Well,
storytelling. Go on, sorry, Rich.
No.
I was waiting to say there was a few things I was going to go back and add to what you were just saying there. There was actually a moment, which I'll go on to you, but it's what I was saying to you, Tubbs, about like going, I understand why Owen didn't go in brutal, and he was actually kind of, I'm going to beat you in your own technical way to prove that he is Bret, but better. So hence why I understood why he wasn't doing the haymakers. Just what I remember is like, I thought it was even better because obviously when Owen first came, he was still kind of doing the whole blue blazer thing. Did you see the promo shots on that when he was going like, I had to wear this mask because you were ashamed and didn't want your family to like for me to outshine you? Like he took that and blamed it on Hart. But there's a moment I actually just thinking about now. I may have, when I'm watching it, I might just not seen it properly or I got confused. Run a bit towards the end. Did Bret Hart tap out to the sharpshooter? He went.
No, he because Owen did it. Owen did it earlier in the match as well when he was cutting the. I think it was the figure 4, was it? He just tapped his hand down. It was this thing they used to do back in the earlier days, man. It wasn't just one frustration. They banged around for so.
They didn't really bring the tap. They didn't really bring the tapping out into WWF for a while, I think.
It wasn't just one tap. It did. It was a count the taps.
I don't know. I mean, unless now it was just he was doing this thing with his hand. You know what I mean? But I don't think he tapped at all. Like I did catch at the end, which I thought was really cool storytelling, was at the very end of the match when Owen's up and he's like, and all this, like, you know, and Bret's looking at the ref going, I kicked out. It's like in disbelief that he couldn't believe where he gone with it, you know. But it's fucking class, man.
Look at the sharpshooter that Owen puts Bret in. It wasn't just one tap. It was like a.
Okay, I'll have to look that back over again.
Look at that because I was like, he just tapped, and I was like, because to me, if you're going to beat someone who, especially a family, and almost the same style, and like you're going, I'm better than you, what better way to win than beat them in their own move? Especially when the sharpshooter wasn't actually your move, that you usually start doing it to kind of like mimic and kind of piss off your brother. So what I bet to me, like the finish is great, but to beat someone to be like, I'm better than you, is you put the finisher on them and you tap them out with it.
Okay, guys. So what would be your best spot of the match?
It was the build up. It has to be the whole build up to it, that whole match. I know it's not in the ring, but the build up to this was phenomenal. You just don't get these kind of, you know what, like it wasn't even that long of a build up compared to what some things that WWE tend to drag out for like a year or two. It was a nice period. The whole build up into the story was phenomenal. So to me, like the actual story was the highlight of this.
Tubbs?
I have 3 spots that I absolutely adored in this match.
You're freezing.
Let me say mine before you wrap one of them.
Okay, go on.
Can you hear me? I'll say one before you take all of mine. I think one of my favourite spots, well, 2 really, was Owen hitting that pile driver thing that banjacked Steve Austin a few years later. See him hitting that properly on Bret was fucking brilliant.
He modified it though.
Yeah, the tombstone. You yourself, what's yours then?
Oh, the first one was when they were doing, do you know, the leapfrog reversal thing, like when they run off the ropes. I had forgotten because you'd see Eddie Guerrero do this move or this bump from this move so many times, but I had forgotten that it was like Owen was one of the first to do it. Was when Bret would jump over and Owen would come back and he'd come back and then he'd do the monkey flip like with his legs. He'd toss him with his legs and Owen literally hit the ropes, like with his back and his legs first, like
his
arched
legs
over and came down
straight off the fucking
Oh,
ropes.
it looks so sick, man. My second one was the one you mentioned, but it's because I loved that it was Owen ran after, or was it? So they did the run after the ropes and Bret came up and he reversed it into the tombstone, but then went up for the diving headbutt. And
missed it.
He dove so high up in the air, man, it came down and the camera angle was so low. Bret moved and all you could see was Owen's face just go bang and it crapped off the floor. And the ending, I loved the ending. No, actually, there's one. Actually, I'll go to. Sorry, I'm. There's so many. There's a spot. There's a spot in the match. Or it's 12 minutes and 50 seconds in, right? And I would timestamped it because I wanted to talk about it because I noticed it when I watched the kind of the build up and stuff as well. This is what I mean about this match storytelling within the technical wrestling. Is in Bret Hart is fighting him, and they're doing all their technical shtick and the whole lot, and Owen goes out to the side, and then Bret frustratingly changes his gameplay for a split second and does a dive over the top rope. Just kind of out of his character.
Perfect as well it was.
And instantly when he hit the ground, he's bent back over holding that knee. And I was like, oh, there you go. Now they're into the fucking knee that got him here, you know? It's the knee that Owen took out. Now they're here. They're in the match, and this is where it's going to go. I loved that spot because of the storytelling aspect of it, leading into where it went towards the end of the match.
It goes to show you, like, you can have a Hell in a Cell on a Sunday now in WWE, and someone's legs can be completely destroyed, and they'll come out dancing Monday night on Raw. Do you know what I mean? Like,
or get thrown off a roof.
Yeah, but like, so guys, what would you give it out of 10? We've gotten to that part of the show already.
Like, Rich, you go first because, I think I already know what you're going.
Rich is going to give us a 10, I think.
Yeah.
No, Rich, are you going to Dave Meltzer it and give it 15 out of 10?
We don't do that shit.
I'm gonna do it at 20. Fuck you guys. I'm going home. I'm home. 10.
Cool.
Here you going, Brian?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Explain that one, my friend.
Because as much story as there is, it's still just the opening exchanges in a fantastic feud. It ended very quickly, I thought, but I know why as well. With good reason, but I think if we were watching the cage match or the match that ended this feud, it would be an easy 10 for me as well. But just as this is, there's nothing wrong with the match per se. It's just an opener.
Yeah.
There was nothing solved, I suppose, by the end of it. It was just a quick, sneaky roll-up victory, which obviously leads you on to this isn't over. So 8 for me. Tubbs?
Okay. I'm going to give this a very sturdy 10 because I agree with Rich. I think it is very much one of those unique matches, and not just because of the match. It's one of those stories that's been told over time with the Hardy Boys and even Undertaker and Kane, even though they're not real brothers, but that sibling rivalry storyline. And I felt this one was special because it was just so real. It felt real, as Rich said a while ago. It felt like they were mirroring real life problems in with the story. Even when Owen was going on about Bret like not tagging him in the Rumble match and how much of an ego he has, and when he said that, I was going, oh my God, like how many times have you heard people say Bret Hart is a mark for himself? It felt real. It really did feel real to hear that comment come out of his own brother. But I just felt the match, as I said, the match was like a technical clinic. Like as I said, I tried and I couldn't pick holes in the match. It was just genuinely a fantastic match from start to finish. But what I loved about it more was they bled the entire build of story into this match. And then another thing I loved about it, and the reason I'm saying it is why I'm giving it 10, is Owen Hart wins the match. And Owen's like, I'm better than you. I've done it. I beat you. I'm the excellence of execution now. I'm the best there is, best there ever will be now. It's me. And then Bret goes on and wins the title. And Owen is seething because he beat Bret. And then, I beat you, but now you're the champion. It's not fair. It's this thing. And it's the character. And that's what Rich was saying, is that's why this built, why this story became so iconic, was because of things like that. And I think that's why it worked for me on such a high level, was because, as we've said it before, I love the storytelling, and this thing oozed every ounce of storytelling that you could fucking in. And it's a high praise, my friend. I'm going to tell you why. It's a high praise. A Bret Hart match got a higher mark than a Shawn Michaels match from me. And that just goes to show how good the story in wrestling was in this match. Oh, also just, I do think Bret Hart is the Captain America of the WWE. He's Canada's ass, man.
He's Wolverine.
That's what it is. But no, I loved it. I actually did. I really, and it just goes to show that this match, very fond memories looking back, and even fonder looking at it today. I was like, I still love this match as much as I thought. It's genuinely a classic. Like, one of the more underrated ones, I think. Like,
I just to go back to myself for a second before we run out of time. Like,
go on.
I would have scored a 10. Yes, we can go as long as I want. I would have scored it a 10, but I didn't go back and watch all the build. I watched it just as the match. And to me,
that's fair, dude. Yeah.
And to me, even the match itself was treated like a bit of an afterthought, because Bret's main goal that night was winning the world title. So maybe he could have been holding back.
Genuinely the point of the match. He needed to feel that way for Owen's win, because Owen, for that promo after that match, needed to feel like he was on top of the world, and I'm now the top dog in the Hart family. And then Bret goes and wins regardless. You know, and do you know what I mean? It's that, like, look, what was it? What was the fucking point? Do you know?
But we usually discuss our marks are on the match alone and were we entertained. Brian, would you change your score, ignoring the rest of the pay-per-view? Just that match. Forget that Bret's way to fight Yokozuna and win the belt, because it is not. It's about that story, about that match. It's not about.
See, then I'm scoring on 6 months of build as well, not just the match. If you get me, as a match on its own with no build, no story, brilliant. Definitely.
What would you score it then?
I'd still give it 8 to 9 out of 10. But see, it needs that fucking niggle to fucking bring it up.
Hey, Brian, is it an 8 or is it a 9? Come on.
I'm sticking with my 8, and that's it, motherfuckers.
You do that, man. Don't ever make anyone change your mind.
Tubbs, is Paddy going to be a douchebag and once again support fucking Brian's angle here? Or is he going to be a real man for once and actually what match is?
No. I think Pads will kind of make his own mind up on it, like, you know.
Yeah.
To be fair.
So, guys, this has been Brian's Action Figure Reviews and Retro Wrestling Reviews. Get your suggestions in. Next week, who are we doing, Rich? Your friend's selection.
It was a WCW match. 2004. Chris Benoit versus Bret Hart. Can't remember the pay-per-view, but it is at the arena where Owen Hart died.
And it's a tribute match to Owen Hart, yeah.
Yep.
So this will be the first time as well that we're watching the same wrestler 2 weeks in a row. So
and it's on a WCW show.
WCW. And with that, we'll see you later, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Subscribe to Chest Bursting Photography. Check out Twisted Tubs on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll see you later, guys. Bye.
See you later, guys.